Piper, I wanted to ask you because Mabel has such a passionate nature to her. How was it really unleashing that energy in your performance? And I was curious if it kind of rubbed off on you any, because I feel like we could all learn something from that character. And like if I had like 20% of her passion, I feel like everybody would be better off.
I think I was lucky because I got to play a character that was not super far off from who I am in real life. And I did not really realize that until way too far into the process, but I think Daniel Chong realized it immediately, which is then, why he put me here. And it is. I mean, there's so much of her in me and vice versa, and it truly is the biggest compliment when I meet someone who watched or loved the film and talk to them for 2 minutes and they say, "You're just like Mabel." I'm like, "Thank you." Like that's the biggest compliment. And like it just like I do feel that sometimes, but hearing it from other people is like, because sometimes you're like, you know, you would like to think you're like that person that you think is really cool, but maybe you're not really like them. So I don't know. When people tell me that, I think it's just a compliment, and I think she's amazing, and getting to be a part of building that character was just really special.
That's really special. And Bobby, you worked with the director Daniel on We Bear Bears
Correct.
before.
Correct. I don't want
What
to
did it mean
alarm
for
you,
you?
but there's a giant bear behind you.
Very true. Thank you
No,
for
sir. I
letting me
just want to make
know.
sure you're safe. I apologize.
I'll, I'll try. What did it mean for you to be asked back by Daniel and to be the co-lead in a Pixar movie? That has to be exciting.
Yeah, it's nuts. I owe Daniel nothing. I owe him everything. He has made my life exponentially better without giving me jobs. He's a very kind man, and he teaches people how to be kind through his animation. And We Bear Bear's easily one of my favorite things I've ever done. And yeah, the last day of We Bear Bears, I said I don't want this to end. I really hope we get to work together again, and here we are. I can't believe it. Being a co-lead in a Pixar movie, it's like you assume that it's going to make sense at some point. You assume that at some point you'll go, yeah, no, that happened, and I get it, and I've seen it, and it makes sense, and it just doesn't. One of the last interviewers, which maybe you made a cameo in, by the way, you popped in to one of
Yeah,
our other
yeah.
interviews for a sec. I was very nervous for you because there was a bear behind you, so I'm glad that we got to see you again. But that being said, he showed us that we are now King George and Mabel are now avatars on Disney Plus, and I changed it to my avatar during the interview.
Yeah.
It's already done.
That's pretty surreal to have yourself be the avatar on the streaming service. That's
Yeah,
really cool.
it's not lost on us. It really isn't.
And
Crazy.
Piper, I know you had done, some voice work on TV, but this was like the first major movie that you voiced, which has to be surreal. I mean, there's toys of your character that you voiced. How has it been just seeing all this excitement that comes with being part of a Pixar movie release?
It still does not compute, like in any way at all. Like I spent the last or have spent the last few years of my career doing a lot of like really wonderful indie movies. And, just by nature of the business, like they often don't get seen by like a mass of people. And so to go from that to Pixar, where, now we're stuffed animals and we're icons in Disney Plus and we're, like it just it doesn't feel, yeah, like what, like I don't know what, it's all so insane. And I'm just feel so lucky that I've had Bobby to go through it with me, and that Bobby is who he is, because I would expect anybody who's been in the business and around the block as much as he has to just be a little bit more nonplussed by it all. But like throughout the entire experience, it's just been me and Bobby being like, we're so lucky.
Oh
This is
yeah, I'm a child.
cool. What the
Lucky
heck?
child.
Yeah. So it's just been so special, and I don't think it will ever stop feeling that
Yeah,
way, quite honestly.
I agree with all.
Yeah, Bobby, I did want to ask about that because, voice actors mostly record solos. So how has it been doing these press rounds, especially with Piper and meeting all your talented co-stars? How has it been, having that relationship with your co-stars develop after the fact? And clearly you two have really connected.
Yeah, I mean that there. I don't. Sorry, other projects, I don't have like a third daughter from any of the other projects. Like like they're all wonderful. I've made friends. I'm not a mean person. Well, but but yeah, no. I don't know if I've ever met anyone and just hit the ground running faster than Piper. Just as far as like I went, oh, there's Mabel. I got it. And we dropped into our slots and we stayed there. And yeah, it's very we're very lucky people to get to do this job and to be currently working. So to be excited about coming here today because I was gonna see Piper, that's it's you don't get that. You don't get that a lot. I didn't get it with Ted Danson. That guy was a jerk. No, I'm just kidding. He's the nicest man in the world. I love you, Ted.
I love
I
Ted.
went for the clearest target that I was kidding, and that was Ted Danson.
Love it. And Piper, you've mentioned how surreal this has been. Obviously, and you mentioned that Daniel obviously saw a part of you in Mabel, and could see that connection before you even did. So, what was that casting process like, where, you were working on, auditioning for this project? How did that go?
It was interesting. I mean, had gotten the very nondescript email, that was like, okay, this is this code name and a side note from my agent that's like, I'm pretty sure this is Pixar, like just so you know, like they give you zero information about the project or what it is, and so I just kind of went in very blind, did a session with casting, and they were like, good enough, and moved on, and then I did a session with and this is all over Zoom with Nicole and Daniel, and then did like a final session. They flew me up to Emeryville and recorded for a couple hours in the booth. Unbeknownst to me, I was the only one they did that for. And I'm sitting here thinking like, okay, there's probably like four or five other girls. Like I gotta like keep it, and it's like I'm the only, it was just me. And then they're like, okay, like you'll hear soon. And then I did hear, and then what I heard was you did not get the job. And I, sat with that for a couple weeks. Probably, yeah, I wasn't doing too great. Um, and and then I got a call from my agent, and he was like, are you sitting down? And I was like, what are you about to say to me? And now here we are, none of that had to do with anything, Daniel or Nicole or anybody else that I was working really closely on the project with had to do with, but it was a bit of a roller coaster for me emotionally. But I will say, it made me work that much harder. When you don't feel like you have job security, you are working real hard.
Oh, I for 4 years worked on this movie. Never thought was 2 weeks before. Literally called Daniel and was like, "If you recast this, I won't hate you. I understand." Like I never once. But that's the SNL in me too, of just
Mhm.
knowing it could get cut live on air. Of that was just that knowing like at any moment someone else is going to step
Until the
in.
trailer came out, I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
like, I was literally like, could could change.
Yeah,
Might
I mean,
happen,
like at least
you
now
know?
where there's legal proof, we can sue now.
It all worked out, and you two are just both so perfect for your characters. And
Mm.
Bobby, I wanted to ask, what was your favorite aspect of King George? Because his kindness and like this pure-hearted quality to him is just so special, and I feel like everybody just instantly connects with him. So how is it just putting that out into the world?
It's the best. My favorite part of King George now is his bald spot. It's my favorite thing in the world. It's my favorite thing in the world. I have getting and been having a bald spot for 10, 15 years, and I just love that I don't care. I'm not a vain person. And I don't care about what I look like. And I love that George doesn't either. I love that he's got that too. Also, I just want to say this. If there's ever a Hoppers 2, I think you might need to be in it just because seeing you amongst the characters in the background, I love you and I think you fit in well and I think you belong in the Glade.
Yeah.
Oh, nothing better than that. I would love to love to appear in Hoppers too for sure. And
Right?
Piper, speaking of Hoppers too, do you have any hopes for a sequel? I know I was talking to Daniel, and he said so many ideas were cut that could be explored in the future. Do you feel like there's more stories for Mabel to be told?
No.
Nope.
No,
I
that
think
was
we're
it.
good.
Um,
One and
no,
done.
yeah, I mean, we talked about it throughout the whole press tour, like we were like, the adventures of George and Mabel, like what could they get into? What would they, where does their story go after this? And the idea that Mabel is in the lab with Dr. Sam cooking up other stuff, so how does that impact the world or hopping or whatever, like I just think there's so much material there. And not only that, but we just loved making this movie and we loved working with each other, like Daniel Chong could tell me to set myself on fire and I would do it for him because like I trust him and I
I
think
hope he
he's
doesn't.
yeah.
Yeah, same.
But I would, and it's just like that's the dream is to get to work with people like that
Yeah.
forever. So that's the hope.
Fingers crossed. I mean, these characters are so fun. You'd watch them do anything really. And Bobby, I was curious, how's it been seeing all the fan response? Because the kids, are being introduced to you, and this is such a fun entry point. But then your older fans, they get to show you to their kids, and it's this real mixture of audiences, and that has to be special.
Yeah, I was a big hit at drop off at kid school for like a week. I was like it went from like where did I see you on Is It Cake to King George. So yeah, that's pretty sweet. I was telling Piper recently I was in Five Below that store with my daughters and a little kid just came up to me. It was like a cartoon. A little kid just came up to me. First of all, when a child approaches you in a public I usually run away. And they just looked at me and went, "Are you King George?" And just whispered, "Are you King George?" And I went like, "Yeah, shh." And it's like out of a movie. Like I was like, "Yeah." And they got all excited and ran away. And I was just like, "That's the best." Like, are you kidding me? That just happened. It's nuts.
That's
My daughter had a friend over, and the Hoppers trailer came up on Disney Plus, and the kid was like, "I love that movie," and she goes, "That's my dad," and he was like, "What? What are you talking about? Like liar?" And I watched it all go down, and then walked in the room and like found myself talking like George, like trying to trying to impress Kion, the 7-year-old in my home. Shout out Kion. Shout out Kion, by the way.
now you have the secret to impress all the 7 year olds, so that's really wonderful. And
Yeah.
Piper, my last question
They're gonna
for you. I
give
feel
me
like
jobs in 20 years.
there you
Hopefully.
go.
Yeah.
Piper, I feel like everybody has such a connection to Pixar growing up now, and for me, Toy Story was what I would watch before bed all the time. What Pixar movie did you always return to growing up?
The big one was like when growing up, I mean we still have it, but I have four siblings and so we drove everywhere in a giant like Dodge Grand Caravan minivan. And we got the one with the TVs in it, right? That you could which was like
Yeah,
huge for us. And anybody that grew up with a car like that knows that you'll put a movie in and then it'll just live in there for like 6 months. And so you just end up watching it hundreds of times for no reason. One of those was Ratatouille. And I love Ratatouille also because I
Oh my
love
gosh.
cooking. So any movie or show that has like cooking sequences in it, like I just love watching. But yeah, I think that movie is just like endlessly quotable and fun to watch. And yeah, that was a big one just for my family. Like I think we all love Ratatouille. So
yeah. Who doesn't love Ratatouille? That's a classic, and Hopper's definitely it keeps up that Pixar legacy so well. So, congrats to both of you, and I love the film. So, thank you guys for your time today.